The St. Regis Hotel's grand ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers and old-money pretension as I walked through the ornate doors. My father's 60th birthday celebration was exactly what you'd expect from the Harrison family: excessive, showy, and designed to remind everyone of our supposed status in Boston's elite social circles. I smoothed down my simple black dress, a custom Chanel that looked understated but cost more than my sister Amanda's monthly mortgage. Not that anyone here would recognize true quality over obvious flash. "Oh, Sophia, you finally made it." Amanda's voice carried across the marble foyer, dripping with the same condescension she'd perfected since boarding school. "We were just wondering if you could even afford the valet parking." I handed my keys to the waiting attendant, ignoring his subtle double-take at the limited edition Aston Martin. Let them think I still drove the old Honda from my struggling days. "You know me," I smiled mildly. "Always working. Right, your little consulting business." Amanda waved her hand dismissively, her new engagement ring catching the light. "Though I suppose someone has to help the small companies. Not everyone can handle the pressure of real corporate success." If she only knew that my little consulting business was actually Harrison Global Solutions, one of the fastest-growing private equity firms in the country. While she bragged about her middle management position at our father's company, I'd spent the last 5 years quietly building an empire that would soon own that same company. "Amanda, darling." Our stepmother Evelyn's voice rang out with practiced charm. "The seating arrangements need your final approval." I followed them into the ballroom, already knowing what was coming. Sure enough, there it was, the small table in the corner, decorated with balloon animals and crayons. "We thought you'd be more comfortable with the children," Amanda smirked. "Since you never quite grew up into real business. Plus, all the adult tables are for people who actually achieved something." I thought about the documents sitting on my desk back at my real office, the top floor of Boston's most exclusive high-rise. The papers that would announce Harrison Global Solutions' acquisition of not just my father's company, but the entire Harrison business empire. "How thoughtful," I murmured, taking my seat among the scattered toys. My phone buzzed quietly, a message from my assistant. "Forbes interview confirmed. Jet standing by for 9 p.m. departure." Perfect timing. The party proceeded exactly as expected. My father held court at the main table, bragging about Amanda's recent promotion and her engagement to the son of his biggest investor. My stepmother fluttered between groups, dropping casual mentions of their newest vacation home in the Hamptons. And Amanda, ever the dutiful daughter, made sure everyone knew about her latest executive decision at Daddy's company. "At least one of my daughters understands business," my father announced, raising his glass. "To Amanda, the true heir to the Harrison legacy." I sipped my water, thinking about how that legacy would look tomorrow when the markets opened. When everyone discovered that the mysterious CEO of Harrison Global Solutions, the company that had been systematically acquiring controlling interests in major corporations across the country, was the daughter they'd relegated to the children's table. My phone buzzed again. "Ma'am, weather report shows we need to move up departure. Jet will be ready in 30 minutes. I checked my watch earlier than planned, but it would work even better. Let them see the truth while the party was in full swing. More juice." Amanda called out mockingly. "Or should I have them bring you a sippy cup?" I stood up slowly, smoothing my dress. "Actually, I need to leave early. Business calls." "What business?" My father scoffed. "Consulting with another failing startup?" The familiar rumble of jet engines filled the air. Right on schedule. Through the ballroom's floor-to-ceiling windows, my private jet became visible, executing a perfect landing at the hotel's private airstrip. My phone rang on speaker exactly as planned. "Ms. Harrison, your jet is ready for the Forbes interview. The magazine is eager to discuss Harrison Global Solutions' latest acquisitions." The silence that fell over the ballroom was absolute. Amanda's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. My father's face lost all color as recognition finally dawned. "Harrison Global Solutions?" he whispered. "The company that's been buying up everything in sight? That's you." I smiled, picking up my purse. "We'll discuss the details tomorrow when the ownership changes become public. For now, I have a magazine cover to shoot." The stunned silence that had fallen over the ballroom shattered as my father's voice boomed across the room. "Stop right there." His face had transformed from pale shock to purple rage. What do you mean ownership changes? I paused at the doorway, enjoying the moment as decades of carefully maintained social hierarchy crumbled around us. The elite of Boston society, who had spent years dismissing me as the Harrison family's disappointment, were now frantically Googling on their phones. "Oh my God," someone whispered. "Harrison Global Solutions, they own half the financial district." Amanda, recovering from her initial shock, stumbled forward. Her designer dress was stained with spilled champagne, but she barely seemed to notice. "This is some kind of joke," she declared, though her voice trembled. "You can't be, you're nothing. You work with small companies." Actually, I turned back to face the room. Those small companies were usually subsidiaries of Harrison Global Solutions. It's amazing how much you can learn about a business when everyone underestimates you. My phone buzzed again. "Ms. Harrison, the board members are assembled for the video call. They're eager to finalize tomorrow's announcement." "Tell them I'll be airborne in 20 minutes, I replied, letting everyone hear the authority in my voice. The same voice they'd ignored for years when I tried to contribute to business discussions. My stepmother Evelyn, ever the social navigator, suddenly appeared at my side. Her perfect smile was fixed in place, but panic danced in her eyes. "Darling," she purred, "why didn't you tell us? We're family after all." "Family?" I raised an eyebrow. "Like when you convinced Dad to cut my trust fund because I refused to take a job at his company? Or when you redirected my inheritance from Mom to Amanda's wedding fund?" The whispers grew louder. Boston's elite loved nothing more than family scandal, and this was better than anything they'd seen in years. "Now see here," my father started, but I cut him off. "No, Dad, you see here." I pulled out my tablet, opening the investment portfolio that detailed exactly how I'd built my empire. "While you were busy grooming Amanda to take over your company, I was learning how business really works. Not from an executive suite, but from the ground up." I started scrolling through the acquisitions. The Davidson Group, acquired through Shell Companies in 2022. Maritime Industries, purchased through private equity in 2023. And tomorrow morning Harrison Enterprises will join the portfolio. "That's impossible," my father whispered, but there was fear in his voice now. "I would have known if someone was buying up shares." "Would you?" I smiled. "You were too busy bragging about Amanda's promotion to notice that your biggest investors were quietly selling their shares to companies that ultimately belonged to me." Amanda grabbed my arm, her perfectly manicured nails digging into my skin. "You can't do this. I'm supposed to run the company. It's my birthright." I gently removed her hand. "Birthright? The company stopped being about family the day you all decided I wasn't good enough to be part of it. Now it's just business." Through the windows we could see my pilot doing the final checks on the jet. Its sleek form gleamed under the evening lights, the Harrison Global Solutions logo clearly visible on the tail. "Ms. Harrison," my assistant's voice came through my phone. "The Forbes photographer is set up at the Manhattan office. They're particularly interested in discussing the Harrison Enterprises acquisition." My father suddenly straightened, his business instincts finally kicking in. "We can talk about this," he said, switching to his negotiation voice. "Come to my office tomorrow. We're family, we can work something out. Like you worked things out when I brought you evidence of financial irregularities 3 years ago?" I countered. "When I showed you how the company was violating environmental regulations and worker safety standards. You said I didn't understand real business. That I should leave such matters to Amanda." The color drained from his face again. Those violations had been carefully hidden, or so he thought. "Everything is documented," I continued. "Every illegal practice, every covered-up accident, every bribe. Tomorrow, when Harrison Global Solutions takes control, we'll be implementing a complete overhaul of company policies." "You'd destroy your own family's legacy?" Evelyn gasped. "No," I corrected her. "I'm saving it. Harrison Enterprises under your leadership has become a symbol of corporate greed and corruption. Under mine, it will become something worth being proud of." My phone chimed with another message, the pilot signaling ready for departure. The Forbes interview awaited, where I would reveal not just my identity as Harrison Global Solutions CEO, but my plan to transform one of Boston's oldest companies into a model of modern corporate responsibility. "Now, if you'll excuse me," I gathered my things. I have a magazine cover to shoot. Oh, and Amanda. I paused at the door. Thanks for the children's table. It was the perfect last chapter for the local girl makes good angle Forbes wants to use. As I walked toward the exit, chaos erupted behind me. Amanda's shrill demands mixed with my father's angry shouts and my stepmother's attempts to maintain social dignity. But over it all, I heard the whispers of Boston's elite, already repositioning themselves for the new power structure I was about to unveil. The next morning, Boston's financial district was buzzing with activity well before the markets opened. News of Harrison Global Solutions' acquisition of Harrison Enterprises had leaked overnight, sending shockwaves through the business community. The Forbes interview, complete with a cover photo of me in my office overlooking the city, was already trending online. I sat in my real office, the one nobody in my family had ever seen, watching multiple screens display various news channels. Every one of them was running the story. Breaking news. Sophie Harrison, dubbed the Silent Titan of Wall Street, reveals herself as CEO of Harrison Global Solutions. Harrison Enterprises stock surging in pre-market trading as investors react to acquisition news. Sources say the Harrison family was blindsided at Patriarch's birthday celebration. My assistant, Maria, entered with my morning coffee. Your father has called 17 times since 6 a.m. Amanda's tried 23 times and your stepmother's left 12 voicemails. And the board meeting? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Set for 9 a.m. All members will attend virtually except for the Harrison family, who insist on being there in person. She paused. Security has been increased as requested. I nodded, taking a sip of my perfectly prepared coffee. And the other arrangements? The employee meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. All factory workers and staff will be connected via video conference. The new safety protocols and wage adjustments are ready to be announced. This was the part I'd been waiting for, the real reason behind everything I'd done. While my family focused on profit margins and social status, I'd spent years documenting the human cost of their business practices. The underpaid workers, the unsafe conditions, the environmental violations. At precisely 8:55 a.m. the elevator doors opened. My father stormed in, followed by Amanda and Evelyn. They'd clearly had a rough night. Their usually impeccable appearances showed signs of strain. You manipulative little dash, Amanda started, but father cut her off. This ends now, he declared, trying to summon his old authoritative tone. I've spoken with our lawyers. You can't just take over a family company like this. I gestured to the conference room. Surely I can. And I did. Shall we discuss the details civilized? The conference room was already occupied by my team of lawyers and executives. On the large screens, board members waited virtually. My family faltered at the sight of such a professionally assembled meeting. Good morning, I began once everyone was seated. As you've all no doubt heard, Harrison Global Solutions has acquired a controlling interest in Harrison Enterprises. This meeting will outline the transition plan. There won't be any transition, my father interrupted. I founded this company and ran it into the ground, I finished firmly. Would you like to discuss the pending EPA violations? Or perhaps the OSHA complaints? The offshore accounts? He paled. Amanda jumped in. You're bluffing. You can't prove . I pressed a button and documents began appearing on the screens. Years of carefully gathered evidence, testimony from whistleblowers, financial records showing the true state of the company. Harrison Enterprises is 3/4 in debt, I continued. Your last factory expansion was built with substandard materials to save costs. There have been 17 unreported worker injuries in the past year alone. And that's just the beginning. The board members on the screens were shifting uncomfortably. This was all news to them. But I pressed another button, bringing up a new set of documents. Harrison Global Solutions has a plan. Complete modernization of all facilities. Comprehensive worker safety programs. Environmental compliance. Profit sharing for employees. And full transparency in all operations. You'll bankrupt us, Evelyn exclaimed. No, I corrected her. I'll save the company. Our analysis shows that happy, well-paid workers are more productive. Safe factories have fewer costly accidents. Environmental compliance now is cheaper than paying fines later. I stood up, commanding the room's attention. Harrison Enterprises was founded by my grandfather with a vision of innovation and integrity. Somewhere along the way, that vision was lost to greed and status seeking. I'm restoring it. The next hour was a detailed presentation of the transition plan. The board members, seeing the company's true situation and my solution, voted unanimously to support the changes. My father, for the first time in his life, was rendered speechless. At 10 a.m. I addressed all employees via video conference. The announcement of increased wages, improved safety measures and profit sharing was met with cheers across all locations. The stock price, already up in pre-market trading, soared. "You planned this for years," Amanda said quietly after the meetings ended. "While we were mocking you, you were building an empire." "I learned from you actually," I replied. "You taught me that appearances can be deceiving. That people see what they expect to see. You expected to see a failure, so you missed the success right in front of you." My father stood by the window staring out at the city. "Your mother would be proud," he finally said, his voice rough. "She always said you saw things differently." "She also said that true success isn't about money or power," I reminded him. "It's about making a difference. That's what I plan to do." The day ended with another series of interviews, this time focusing on the company's new direction. The business world was captivated by the story. The underestimated daughter who built a secret empire to save her family's legacy, not by continuing its mistakes, but by charting a new course. Late that night, as I prepared to leave the office, Maria brought me one final report. Employee applications had skyrocketed. Our stock was up 40%. And social media was buzzing with praise for the company's new direction. I picked up a framed photo from my desk, the only personal item in the office. It showed a much younger me sitting on my mother's lap, both of us laughing. She would indeed have been proud, not because I'd proven everyone wrong, but because I'd proven myself right.